Oh, wow. Put the pressure on. Okay.
Yes. Yes, I will. Do you have ScreenFlow on?
I do have ScreenFlow on.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
You don't know how long I've waited to say that to you. I'm going to go sit over here with my Slurpee. And then I will come and join you later.
All right. Don't make too much noise over there.
Oh, that's why I got a Slurpee.
All right. Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. All right. So what I'd like to do first is to show you this document that I created. My intent here today is to show you that you can create more than just a text document using Pages. I am showing this to you from my iPad, which is connected to my computer, and this is an ePub file that I exported from Pages. So let's take a look. First, I have a cover page, and then this is my inside cover page. So the idea is that you can create, here's my acknowledgements page, and a table of contents. And this is a sample file, so it's not fully, robust in content, but it has content. So here's the first page of the chapter. And you have images, a sidebar, you have a running header up at the top, you have text, and you have a secondary header down below the image. Also more text, more images, and in this case, I also have a footnote. And down at the bottom, there is a footnote reference down at the bottom. More text, more footnotes. Where are you? I'm looking for the word conflict, but I want to show you that they are continuous when you create footnotes. And if I could just see the small print and see where the other one is, I'd show it to you, but I'm going to pass that by. All right, again, the content is consistent. And this is the idea is for you to be able to create a book or some type of content that you do have consistent looking pages and consistent looking formatting in your document. Here I have a movie. And let's open that up. This is the sun setting. And you have controls that you can access. Let me open that back up. If I want to repeat it, scroll back or scroll forward 15 seconds, I can. And I can even send it out to any other AirPlay document. Below this, I have what's called an image gallery. With the image gallery, you see the little dots down at the bottom. I can try to click the dots, or I can just swipe through. And notice that each separate image has a different caption. Come on. And this is all still within this ePub document. If I continue on, more consistent content. Again. And here, in this chapter, I have a link. Directly in the first line of the body text. So if I click the link, it asks me, do I want to go and open up this web page? I will. It takes me to the web page. I can read the content. And then in the upper left corner, I can click back on iBooks, and it takes me back into my document. More images, and the end, that little square down at the bottom is an inline graphic. If I want to navigate to any of the other pages, I tap the iPad, and I can click on any page to get back to it. And to show you that the table of contents is a working table of contents, click there. It takes me back to chapter 1. Let's go back. Let's go to chapter 4. So what you have here is a document that, believe it or not, is pretty easy to create in Pages. So the idea of my presentation is to show you that you can create a document with consistent formatting, with an automatic updating table of contents to show you how you can add footnotes, the different methods that you can insert images, adding an image gallery, inserting a movie, and a web link. How does that sound? All right. Now, believe it or not, this file is a word processing file. Does it look like a word processing file? It looks like a page layout file. All right, so with that.
You didn't use iBooks.
I'm sorry?
You did not use the iBooks all for the program.
I did not. This is all done in Pages. Okay? All right, so let me go ahead and quit this. Pages. All right. So I'm going to go to File and New. When you're working with Pages, you always start out with a template. Even if it's a blank template, it will have paragraph styles inside of it so that you have something to start with. You're never left completely on your own. There are two types of templates in Pages. One is a word processing file, and the other is a page layout file. If you go through the Pages, I call it the template window, there are a lot of different categories here. Basic, reports, books, more books, landscape or portrait mode, letters, resumes, flyers, newsletters, cards, envelopes, business cards, certificates, and miscellaneous. The one thing that they do not tell you when you open up Pages is which one of these is a word processing file. You sort of have to go take a dive in there and figure it out. So I'm going to give you a tip on how you can do this. I'm going to go to Books, Portrait, and open up the Dunes file here. And give me 1 second. I need to hide this. All right. So I've opened up the Dunes template. To discern whether or not a file is a word processing file or a page layout file, what you want to do is come over here to the upper right-hand corner. There is a document icon. And this document icon, if you click on it, it will have down like in the middle. You see where it says body copy? If body copy is checked, this is a word processing file. If it is not checked, it is a page layout file. The reason I'm going word processing is because a word processing file is the only file that can create an automatic, regenerating, updating table of contents, or some of the other automation qualities. You will not have those available to you in a page layout file, which I found really interesting, but that's how it is. Okay, so I've started with Desert Dunes. This is the template that I'm going to work with. And I selected it only for the reason that I liked the page paragraph formatting. But I want a layout that is landscape. This is a portrait document. So I'm going to change it. If you go again to the upper right corner and make sure you click on the Documents UI, there is a section labeled Documents. This is where I'm going to change the page orientation just by clicking on the landscape file. And things are going to shift. And actually in this template, as I go through this, a lot of things are going to shift. Don't worry, we're going to change them as we go, and that's just how the template works. There's information in the template that we don't know about just yet. I want to make sure that header is selected. I want to make sure that footer is selected. I am going to also change my document margins. I want my top and bottom to be 75, but I want the left and the right margins to be 1 inch. So I'm just going to click on both of those to change those to 1 inch. And let's open this up a little bit and cover this. All right, that's better. All right, so at this point, I'm not going to select facing pages. I am going to select hyphenation. And my page orientation did change. I'm going to just quickly drag this and make that a tad bit smaller. Okay, the next thing that I want to open up, and I advise that when you're working with pages that you do this because it gives you information about what's going on. If you go up to the upper left-hand corner, there is a view icon. In this view icon, I'm going to select Page Thumbnails. This shows you how many pages are in this template, and it also shows me something else. In a word processing document, content is separated by sections. So my pages are separated by sections. So for example, if my cover page, it will be one page of a section. My TOC page, table of contents, will be one page of a section. When you have clicked on the thumbnail, if it becomes outlined in blue, it is showing you the section. If I click on the second page, it shows me that the second page is outlined in blue and that the remaining pages have a blue outline behind it. That is indicating that those are the other pages of one section. So when you click on one page of a section, the thumbnails shows you all of the pages that are in that section. And it's very helpful in what we're going to do. All right, so in this document, I'm going to have a cover page, an acknowledgement page, a table of contents page, Chapter 1 section, and Chapter 2 section. So I'm going to insert that content right now. And there are several methods to do this. I'm going to insert a section first. So I'm going to click on page 1. All of the sections are created directly after the page that is selected. So from here, I'm going to go to Insert and choose Section. It inserts a blank page. I'm also going to have another blank page for my table of contents. So let's go back to Insert, insert another section. And now I'm going to click on the first page of that 3-page section. I'm just going to duplicate this section. Edit, duplicate selection. And that duplicates the entire section. So now I have 9 pages. 1 cover page. This will be my acknowledgement page, my table of contents, Chapter 1, and Chapter 2. So that's how I want to start off. And because it is a word processing file, when you, for example, get to the end of a page, if you add more text, that page will automatically be generated within that section. Okay? So what I'd like to do now is go through and do a little text formatting and working with text. The first page I'm going to work on is my cover page, or my inside cover page. If I select Desert Dunes, because it is a placeholder, all of the text is selected. The same with this heading, and the same with this text. It selects all of the text in the section. So going back, if I select Desert Dunes, I'm going to go over to the right-hand side and select the Format button. It tells me that this is the title on the paragraph settings. It tells me that I have 5 paragraph styles within this document to start off with. You can add as many as you want if you click on the plus sign and with whatever settings that you want to use. So let's do this. With Desert Dunes, I'm going to enter, okay, talk to me. Okay. Option I, well, option, go down, option I, let go, I, there you go. All right, okay. All right, and that is the title paragraph style. I'm going to select this paragraph style at the top. This is heading 2. I'm going to enter Tropical Paradise. Now I want to change the look of this style, of this heading 2. If I go over to the right of the UI, you see that it's heading 2. I'm going to change this style from demi-bold to medium. I want to change the point size to 19. And I'm also going to change a few other characteristics. If you look over, there is a little gear directly to the left of the color swatch. If I click that, it gives me more advanced options. In this case, I want to change the capitalization. The capitalization is going to be all caps. That automatically changes. And I'm going to change the character spacing from 0% to 8%. Make that 8. So it's giving it a different look already. And because you have something to start with, it's even better. All right, so now, and I'm looking for something to happen here that hasn't happened yet. Okay, there should be an update button that appears, but it is being a little finicky here. So what else do I need to change? I'm sorry?
The asterisk behind heading 2?
No, there's a button that will pop up. I want to see that button pop up. So it may want me to go somewhere else. So let's try this and see if I can get that. Sometimes you got to kick stuff in order to make it work. So let's see. Let's see if it will let me do it. Nope. All right, so at some point, there's always a challenge. 1, 2. I want you to be 19. Ha 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 ha. Right? You are right. You are right. And it doesn't want to show up. So at some point, it's going to show up. What will happen? A little blue update button will appear directly to the right of the heading. And when I click it, it will update the settings for all of the styles used, all of the text that uses this style. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to try copying that and seeing if I go here. And you know this never messes up at home, right? Never. Let's see if I do that. Nope, it's still stubborn. All right, we'll leave it be. I'll come back to it at some point. Hopefully it will behave. All right, so this is the first page. I'm going to go to the second page. This will be my acknowledgments page. All I'm going to do is just click. And because it is a word processing program, it automatically has like that invisible text box in there. It's just waiting for you to click your cursor before it starts to do anything. So I want to change this heading to, from title to paragraph style of heading. And I am just going to type in acknowledgments. And let's, whoa, not that, please, not that. And I'm going to center align the text. And I am going to leave that. You see on the right-hand side now where it says heading, you see where it now says update? This is what should have popped up when I was working on the other text, but it didn't. So I'm going to leave that because I am. Let me do one more thing. I'm going to name this ACK page, acknowledgments page heading. Okay, so now it's applied to there. All right, so the third page is going to be the table of contents. I'm going to come back to this much later because I want to have some other things set up before I tell the program to generate the table of contents, even though it will generate it on the fly and update it as I'm working. Okay, so I'm going to continue to edit this template. I'm going to go to page 4. This is my heading, and I'm going to write industry. Uh-oh, that's not where I want it. Chapter 1. Industry of KUA. Option I, option I, industry of, option I, let go, I. That's how you get that special diacritic in there. All right. And for this heading, this will be beautiful, beautiful countryside. And while I'm doing these headings, let me go to chapter 2 and do the same thing. And again, notice how when you click on it, it selects the entire placeholder text. This is going to be mountainscapes. Mountainscapes. And this is going to be B-R-E-A-T-H, breathtaking, scenic views. And this is what I'm going to do now. Since this does not want to adjust on its own, I'm going to go ahead and adjust it. All right. So this is going to be my new style, which is not what it's supposed to be. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want you to update like you're supposed to. Is there a way to make you update? No. All right. Nope, there isn't. All right. So that's going to be heading 3. This is also, this is heading 2. This is the one it's supposed to be. Okay. This is going to be heading 3. Heading 3. All right. There's always a challenge, but I'm up to it. All right. Okay. All right. Let's save this as I'm going. I'm going to save this to the desktop, and this is going to be MGD KAU file. All right. All right. And let's save it. Test files. We can leave it in test files. All right. Cool. I just don't want anything to happen. All right. So now I'm going to add text. I'm going to start on page 4. I have copy text that I brought in or created or typed in another document that I'm going to bring here. And when I click on the body copy, it highlights all of the text in that section, with the exception of this page. So I have, if I click on my section over on the left and the thumbnails, you'll see that I have 3 pages. If I click on page 1, which is a chapter 1 page, it selects the text there, it selects the text here, but it does not select the text here. The question you ask is why? Why? Okay. All right. Because this is a template and there is a page break inserted here. So how do you know that? You can't see it. So if you go to the View menu and select Show Invisibles, it shows you that page break indicator. That will affect how things are moving around in your template. Sometimes you know they're there, sometimes you don't. So if something's going on, you don't know why things are bouncing or why things are duplicating, go to View and select Show Invisibles. And it will give you some indication of what the file or the template is doing. Okay? All right. So I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to go and copy my text. All right, so I have a text edit file with text already in it. So let's copy this. And I don't need that top portion. Come back. All right, so let's copy. And if I go back to pages, this is the body text paragraph style. When I import this text or paste this text in, it's going to want to paste with the same style that's in that text edit document. I don't want it to do that. I want it to come in and grab a hold of the body paragraph style. So if I go to the Edit menu and select Paste and Match Style, it will bring that content in with the heading paragraph style. So it added the text here, and I got additional text and additional pages. So let me clean up something a little bit here. Let's go there. And you will always clean up. That's just a given. So let's clean up here. And in this case, I want to leave that. I'm going to add a page image there. All right, so I'm good. And here, I want to do the same thing for this page. Let's go back to my text edit file. This is copy 2. And copy, edit, paste, and match style. All right, cool. All right, let's clean that up. All right, I'm good. Now let me turn off view and hide invisibles and save my document. And I do have more text to paste in. Let's see, place, all right? So if I go to page 8, now, I went to page 8, and page 8 looks a little different because of the settings that are in the template. I actually got an additional page and I got an additional image. I don't need this. It's not supposed to be there. So no harm, no foul. Delete it. Don't be afraid to delete. It's one of my favorite commands. Delete. So once I deleted that, everything is back looking the way it's supposed to look. So now I'm in chapter 2. I've got my heading, I've got that, and I will add the rest of this text. Oh, I will add the rest of this text in a second. All right, so let's jump back to page 1. And the reason I do this is because there's not one of you in here who can say, when you create a file, it's all done in a linear fashion. You're going to jump, jump, jump all over the place. So my example is no different than real life. All right, so I'm on back to the first image page. I want to add an image here. There are several ways to replace the placeholder images. If you click on it, over on the right-hand side, I'm going to click on the Image tab, and there is a Replace button. Click on Replace. It opens up a window, and I navigate to the file that I want to add. So let's go here, let's go here, let's go, not you, let's go here. And 1, 2, 3. I want to add this one. So I can choose Open or double click. I'm going to double click or choose Open. Now, when it inserts into that bounding box, it takes on the properties of that bounding box. So that's only a portion of this image. There's much more to this image that I want to see. So if I double click on the image, it brings up commands so that I can slide the image over or mask out certain portions. Well, I'm going to start with the landscape icon in the lower left corner. It allows me to slide this image over. Now I'm going to click on the crop icon portion, and it allows me to hover over this anchor point. It changes to a double-sided arrow, and now I can open up all the way to the image. And now I'm done. I'm going to enlarge this as much as I can and then center it just a little bit. So it's pretty easy. Save my work. Now I'm going to go to Chapter 1, page 4. I want to change out this image as well. If I click on it, there's actually something I want you to notice. Look up where it says Chapter 1, Industry of Kawaii. Do you see that icon directly to the right of the eye? That's an anchoring icon. When you see that after you click an image, it means that if this text moves, so will this image. In this particular case, and I'm going to show you how that works, I don't want this image to ever have an indication of moving. So if I go over to the right-hand side of my interface and click Arrange, I have options for it to move with the text or to stay on the page. I'm going to click on Stay on the Page, and that icon disappears. You cannot move that icon yourself. You can't go in and grab it like you can in a program like InDesign. In Pages, it moves by where the image is placed. So, and that is something to note as you're working with this. So now I've told it stay where you are. I'm going to save my document. And now I'm going to replace this with a new image. In this icon on the lower right corner, if I click on it, it opens up a window for me to navigate to another image. It is actually looking at the Photos app when you click on that little icon. And I have absolutely no photos in my Photos app. But I do have shared images on my iCloud. So if I click on Shared, and if I want to be specific, I have like 30 different albums that I share on iCloud Drive. So for this image, you will be this one. Double click and it adds it in. And if I needed to adjust it, I can double click and move it around or change the outside cropping. And let's do that. Let's make it as large as it can be. Oops, too large, undo. All right, so now I'm done. And we're going to leave the rest for later. Okay, so now let's go here. Now this image, I do want to flow with text. So I'm going to resize it first. And then drag it over to the right of my screen. If you look again on the interface on the right-hand side, I'm going to click on Move with Text. And I can also tell it how I want the text to wrap around this image. I can select 5 different settings: automatic, around, above and below, inline, and none. At this point, automatic and around can possibly do the same thing, but I'm going to select around so that the text now flows around the image. And if you look closely, do you see that anchor icon in the second line near the right-hand side? Okay, squint. You see it? Let me move this around a little bit. You see how it's moving? So depending on how the image is placed, that anchor moves. So when you are adding text, it's important where that anchor is. Okay? So to show you that, let's do this. I'm going to take this paragraph right here, and copy it, cut it, and I'm going to put that paragraph about right here. And when I paste, you see how the image moved down? Because the image is flowing with that anchor point. That anchor point moved, and so did the image. So let's put that back up. All right, and save. So you can tell an image to remain stationary, or you can tell it to move with text. Not yet. This one. So we've added images by the Replace button, the iCloud Drive sharing, or iCloud Photos sharing. You can also just drag an image from the Finder. So let's go there. And let's navigate to my images and see which one, and probably you. So I can just drag it into from the Finder. And let's make that a little larger. All right. So lots of different ways to get your images into Pages. All right, let's go to the next chapter. Let's see, I got an extra page here. So let's view, show invisibles. There's my page break. I'm going to delete that page break. There you go. So now everything's back where it's supposed to be. Let's go back to view, hide invisibles. And now, chapter 2. In chapter 2, all right, let's go here, image replace, and let's add another image. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the one I want. All right, so open. Okay. So something still changed. So I have something that's still jumping around here. So let's, all right, just move it. Okay, so as you see, you're going to have challenges working, and they're pretty easy to solve. Just move things around or delete. All right, so breathtaking scenic views, and on this page, I want it to add a movie file and an image gallery. All right, so the text flows. Mountainscapes. Really? All right, so I'm going to go to Finder, find my movie file, and drag it in. And this one, Sunset, and just drag it onto the page. It will come in at full size. I can place it, resize just a bit. And once I select the movie, if you go back over to the right-hand side to the interface and click on the Movie tab, which you'll now see, you have the option to set a couple of parameters for this movie. I can set the volume to be all the way up or maybe halfway up. I can also set exactly where I want this movie to start. It's only like a 6-second movie, so I'm not going to cut any off. But if you had a movie that was, say, for example, 2 minutes, you can still trim it down to the exact size that you want it to be. You can also select the poster frame. The poster frame is what portion, what image in your movie do you want to show when the movie is not running. So that's your poster frame. You can also indicate whether or not you want it to loop continuously, or if you want it to loop back and forth. So it'll go forward, then go backward, forward, and backward. Why would you want that? Okay, anyway, just a question. So I'm going to select none for that. And I'm not going to trim it, so let's take that all the way back. And now I'm done. Those are all of the settings you have for your movie. Now I'm going to add what's called an image gallery. If I go up, if I go up to the toolbar across the top, there is a media icon here. If you click on that, it gives you a menu of items that you can add. It brings them in as a brand new frame. So if I select Media Gallery, it'll dump it in the center, and let me drag that about here, and let's make it a little larger. Okay, a little larger. All right. Actually, that's not where I want it. I want it there. Stop snapping. Okay. This is very interesting. It's because I'm being watched, that's why. I never have these issues at home. It's snapping to something. Stop snapping. If I put you over here, will you snap? Okay, I can live with it right there. All right, so I want to add images to this image gallery. If I click on the icon in the lower left corner, lower right corner, the other left, it takes me to navigate to the image that I want. So I'm going to go to vegetation, and not you, but maybe these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when I choose open, it will drop all 7 of these images into the image gallery, complete with little navigation buttons. And each image has a caption. So on this image, this was a hybrid attached to a tree. And the next image, let's just call these orange lilies. So you get the idea. For however many images you place into the image gallery, it gives you a caption that you can add for each image. And the toolbar, media icon menu, and image gallery. All right, so you get the idea. These were actually red. These were actually green leaves that turn red as they mature. All right, so I'm not going to name them all, but you get the idea. Okay. So the next thing, I have placeholder text that has not been added. So let me go ahead and do that. So the next thing that I want to add, I'll do that in a second, is a page number. And in the beginning, when I created or changed the orientation, I selected the checkboxes for header and footer. And because I selected those, as you navigate and hover over the tops and the bottoms of your pages, you'll see a header and a footer. And let me drag this down. It is a little tall. All right, so let's go to page 4. Page 4. Put your phone on stun. All right, so I'm going to go to page 4, and I'm going to add a page number here. Now, why am I starting on page 4? Because? Well, that is really the reason. I do not want a page number on page 1. Page 2 is the acknowledgement. Page 3 is the table of contents. Page 4 is really where my numbering is going to start. But you'll see something after I do this. So I'm going to start on page 4. Now, the header and the footer have 3 sections. When you click in either section, it's asking, do you want to insert a page number? So it's basically asking, well, which one of these sections do you want to use? Once you choose a section, you're not going to see this anymore. So it's not going to give you all kinds of ways to add a page number. So I'm going to go to the bottom of page 4, and when I click on Insert Page Number, it knows what page number this is. And it gives you choices of formatting. 4, 4 of 9, page 4, page 4 of 9. So you have some options here. I'm going to just choose 4. And because I am in a section, this is chapter 1, and things moved around. This is really interesting here. Okay, page 4, page 5, and page 6 have page numbers. Page 7, 8, and 9 do not, because they're still part of another section, and I haven't told Pages what I want it to do with these areas yet. Now, if I go to page 1, still no page number. 2, still no page number. 3, no page number. So let's do this. Let's go to this page, insert page number. This is page 7. So now page 7 and page 8 and 9 have page numbers. So let's go back to the first page. I don't want a page number here, but I do want a page number here. I want a Roman numeral lowercase page number here. So I can tell it to insert a page number, and I'm just going to tell it to insert page 2. And now I'm going to tell it what to pay attention to. All right? So how do you do this? You have to first click on the thumbnail. it turns everything off. It deselects everything. And then if I go over to the document icon and select section, it gives me then the page numbering formats of what I want to hide, what I want to see, what I don't want to see. So I want no page number on page number 1. So I click on the hide on first page of section checkbox. So nothing there. I don't have to go any further on that page. If I go to page 2, I can tell it I don't want it to hide it. Well, actually, now this is what I noticed about this checkbox. Did you see how when I first clicked on page 2, that checkbox was checked? Sometimes you have to go back and like kick it in order for it to act right. I'm serious. Programs are like that. So it's just sort of like a toggle and just making sure. If you know something is not supposed to be, then just like go back, click on something else, and then come back here. And then it should straighten it out. So I do want a page number on page 2, but I want it to be a Roman numeral character, but I want it to say page 1, not page 2. So I'm going to set the formatting to small Roman numeral, and then I'm going to tell it to start on page 1. So now it changes to exactly what I want. Lowercase, 1 number, Roman numeral. Page 3, which is page 2 now. I do not want a page number on this at all, because when I insert the table of contents, I don't need a page indicator telling me the table of contents is on the page you're on. So I'm going to tell it to hide that. So now all of my numbering should be okay. No number on page 1, page 2, lowercase 1, page 3, table of contents, no number. Page 1 of the chapter industry page is now labeled page 3. I want it to start with page 1 as well. So now I have all of my formatting for the page numbers the way I want them to be. 5 and 6. Okay. So, little things that you go through. You have to remember to click on the thumbnails to turn everything off so that you can then go to the document tab and set your page numbers up properly. All right, so the next thing I want to do is add a header, a running header. I'm going to go to chapter 1, page 1. I want to add a running header right here. I'm going to click inside, and I'm going to enter Tropical Paradise. Go back one more. Okay, P-R-D-D-I-S-E. All right, so if I select that text, I want to actually change how it looks. If I click on the Format button, it now shows me header and footer paragraph style. This is the only place you see this. You can't get to it from the other paragraph styles that you see. So I'm going to leave it as the font it is with the style. I'm going to change the point size to 10. There's my update button. I'm going to change the capitalization, so I click on this gear where it gives me more advanced options. The capitalization is going to be all caps, and I'm going to leave the spacing and everything else as it is. So, cool. Okay, all caps, and let's do an update. All right, so now the running header is changed everywhere. It is applied, except for chapter 2. So let's do a copy, and let's go here, and let's paste that in one time, and it is now on the other pages. All right, so I have this running header that I just added, And I look and I think, oh, the text is too close to the running header. You see that? Not good, not good. So I want to change where that header is. So over on the right-hand side, first of all, let me select that. And over on the right-hand side, I'm going to click on the Layout tab. And at the bottom of the Layout tab, give me a second, I'll make sure I'm in the right place. Document tab. Document tab. All right, sorry, I was in the wrong place. All right, Document tab, Header Footer section. This is where I can tell it how far I want it to be from the edge of the page. Right now it's 1/2 inch. The top of the running header is 1/2 inch from the top of the page. I'm going to decrease the amount of space there to 0.25 or 1/4 inch. And you see that the running header jumped up. So it's now no longer sitting on top of the text. All right. And it should have adjusted for all of the pages, which it did. Okay. Let's save that. And let's add a little more text in a couple of places. I want to add a text box here on the acknowledgement page. Now, even though this is a word processing document and the text just runs all along like you're scrolling on a page, you still can add a text box into the mix. So if I go to the text icon in the toolbar, it just centers a text box here. And let's select that. And let's add a thank you to my MGD family. All right. All right, so oops. Let's select all of that text. Go to Formatting and Style, Text. And I want to center align that style. Thank you. Center align. And we're going to leave that. We're not going to update it. And then I will make sure that I align the text box in the center of the page. All right. All right, everything's set there. Let's save. All right, the next thing I want to add are footnotes. So let's go to page number 1. Page number 1 actually doesn't look like the greatest place to add a footnote, so let me add it to page number 2. Let me move this up, and let me go ahead and copy my footnote text that's in my text document. So let's see. Copy. All right, so in page number 2 of chapter 1, I'm just going to add a footnote, and let's see, I'm looking for a particular text so that it goes exactly, so that's actually on page 3. And let's go ahead and add it here. So I want to add it right here because it talks about a specific missile range facility. And to add a page note, a footnote, sorry, you place the cursor directly after the content you're referencing. Go to the toolbar, and you want to go to the Insert menu. And you select Footnote. It immediately adds the little 1 directly to the right of the word facility. And if you look down at the bottom of the screen, you see the footnote has been added. I'm just going to paste in the text that I copied. And it looks really big. So I'm going to select it. Now, I actually want to change how it looks. And in order to select a footnote and edit the footnote, you have to first click on a blank space. Then when you click on the footnote again, the footnote is outlined in blue. Now I can change the style. I'm going to change the point size to about 10. And everything else is going to remain the same. But remember, you have to click on a blank spot, then click on the footnote in order to edit it. Let's save. And there is another instance where I want to add a footnote. And because I did not copy my text yet, let me go back here. And let's just, I did copy 2. Let's copy 3. Copy. Okay, yeah, I should have done this earlier, but I didn't. So let's see what this looks like. There's always something interesting to see. All right, paste and match style. All right, cool. All right, see what happened? That moved, and that moved. And so where did you move from? You moved from all the way down there. So let's put you back down there. And you moved. See, never change what you're going to do in the middle of a presentation. But because I love you, I risk it. So anyway, all right, so everything's back. There's an extra page in there. Let's delete it. All right, so we're good. All right, so let's save. And we're going to add that last footnote. That last footnote, that's where I'm putting, actually it's going to be here. It's going to be below the first one. All right, so coffee, insert, footnote. We have a 2, and I'm just going to type in wakes you up in the morning. You up in the morning, exclamation mark. Because I just wanted to make sure that you saw that the footnotes are continuous. If you delete a footnote, it will automatically regenerate the page number, so you always have the proper page numbers. Okay, so, I'm sorry? They are both on page 3. They're not supposed to be, but that's sort of where it ended up. And if you want to see it on another page? All right. All right, I'm asking. I'll show let's insert one here. I am on page 6. And let's go to insert footnote. It creates a 3. And you see the 3 down at the bottom. And this is for Fred. All right. Okay, so now we're going to save. All right. You're quite welcome. All right, so now let's add, and I'm just checking over to make sure at least some things are where I want them to be. Oh, I haven't added my web page yet. So let's go ahead and add that. And let's add that here. All right, so here on chapter 2, where it says Hollywood movies and TV shows, I'm going to select that text. And actually, I should have copied my other text first. So let me go to the text edit file where I have my web page. Web page is here. Copy. Go back to pages. So this is the text that I want you to be able to click on and go to a link. So from here, all right, so now I'm going to go to the format menu, select add link, and I want it to be to a website. You have the choice of an email link and a bookmark. So web page, it brings up a little drop-down menu. It displays the text that I've selected, and it says link to. Again, you have the choice, web page, email, bookmark, and I'm just going to paste in that web page. And it knows to go to the page. So let's save, and that's done. And it underlines that text so that you know it's a link. All right, so let's save. And let's now go to page 3, where our table of contents will be. All right, so now I want to add a table of contents. A self-generating table of contents that if I add more chapters, if I move things around, it will automatically update. You can only do this in the word processing file. You cannot do this in a page layout. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to click. And I'm going to go over to the right and choose heading. And this is going to read table of contents. Okay, so because I don't want the table of contents actually showing up in the table of contents, and I'm going to use the heading paragraph style as, well, actually, let me just show it. I'll do it and show it to you how I can change that out. Okay. Now, I think I'll do that now. All right, so I'm going to select the table of contents. I'm going to go over to the right and create a new paragraph style for this. So I'm just going to click on the plus sign, and this is going to be my TOC heading style. So now it's applied. All right, click off of it, press return, and if I go to the insert menu, select table of contents, I can tell it which part of the document I want it to look at to generate a table of contents. I want it to look at the entire document, not just a section. So if I click document, now watch. All right, so just that quickly, you saw it read, generating table of contents. So I have Kawaii Garden and I have Beautiful Countryside. Sort of not the table of contents I was looking for. But if you look over to the right, you'll see what paragraph styles it used to generate this table of contents. All right, I do not want it to use title. I do want it to use heading. I do not want it to use heading 2. And I do want it to use acknowledgement heading page. So now you saw how it shifted around and used the correct paragraph headings, styles to create and generate this table of contents. So you see from the right-hand side, you can have almost anything you want in the table of contents. You just have to specify what you want there. So we're going to save that. And now, the last two things that I want to do here, we've generated the table of contents. I want to show you how to create the sidebar that I created on the side because it has a couple of interesting things that you might like. All right, things shifted again. All right, so let's, oh, that's actually an additional page. So let's go there. Let's remove that page break that I knew was there, and now things are back where they're supposed to be. All right, so I want to add a sidebar that has inset text in it. So I'm going to just click on the text icon, add a sidebar right here, and I'm just going to let Pages size it. So I'm going to wait until I see these guidelines. There you are, guidelines. And let me go to text edit to get my copy text. This is going to be sidebar 1. All right, sidebar 1 and copy. And back to Pages. All right, so this text uses the body style. I want it to use actually I'm going to start with the caption style, and then I'm going to change it. So I'm going to first paste in my text. So edit, paste, and match style. Then let's select all of that. And I'm going to change the point size to something much smaller. I'm going to italicize it. And let's see. Give me a second. Sidebar. Italic, 13 points. I'm going to color the background. So if I just click on the text box and click on Give me a second. I need to set this as a new style. New style, sidebar. All right, set it as a sidebar. And I'm going to change that style button. I want to add a fill, color fill, and I want to not use any of these colors. I want to use the color from the image. So if I go down to this panel, once I click on this panel button, this color panel pops up. I'm going to click on the eyedropper tool. When I click on the eyedropper tool, I can come over to the image and click any color I want. And it pulls in that color from the image. So let's change the opacity to step it down, make it a little lighter, more palpable. And now I want to add a text inset to it. I'm going to click on the Layout tab. And right here, I'm going to increase the text inset. The text inset is the amount of space around the text. So it pulls it in so that it's not abutting up against the sides of the frame. So it gives you a little more interest in the sidebar that you can create. Can I justify it? Justify the text? Sorry, give me a second. Style. And I can justify it. Yep. Yes. Yes. All right, save it. All right, so sidebar is something to add a little interest. Okay, I'm going to, for the sake of time, all right, I'm going to go add one little thing, last thing at the end of the text here. All right, so everybody's looking sort of the way they're supposed to look. I wanted to add an inline graphic here, that small little square. And for this, I'm going to delete you. You know, sometimes when you're reading magazines and they have that little square or some little icon at the back, I think those are really cute. So I wanted to add one here. So if I click on the shape icon in the toolbar, I'm going to add a square, reduce the size of it, change the color of it. Let's change that to dark gray. So how do I get it into the text? If I click on text, and I'm sorry, if I click on arrange, right now it's set to move with the text, which I do want it to do. But I have to tell it to be in line with the text. Now it's going to position itself somewhere in the text, and I can just drag it to where I want it to be. So if I want it to be at the very end, let's put a little space there, make it look a little better. Oops. Yeah. All right, so you can add cute things in there if you want. All right, so for the last thing I want to do, I want to show you how you can then take this file and export it and send it to either your iPad, to someone else to view from their iPad. You can even take your completed book, file, document, picture book, whatever, and upload it to iBooks and sell it on iBooks or on iTunes. So at this point, you would then export it out. So I would go to File, and I want to export it. You have to export it as an ePub file. When I export it for ePub, you give it a name. I'm going to leave this title on it. You can have the first page as the cover page. You can have no cover, in which case a generic cover page will be added. Or you can choose an image, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to use the first page as the cover page. Now, the thing here, depending on how you've laid this out, you either select Layout Reflowable or Layout Fixed Layout. If you have a document like the one I just created and you don't want it to start jumping around when the iPad turns, you export it as a fixed layout document. So now I'm going to give it a category. It's going to be travel and adventure. It's going to be single page, and I export. It's going to tell me where I'm going to export it to my desktop. Fully justified text isn't supported. That's on you, Ray. Okay, your document may look different. All right, choose OK. All right, so let me hide this. And the document is sitting right here. So how do I get it on my iPad? There are many ways you can do this. I can AirDrop it to my iPad. I can upload it to iCloud Drive and then just copy it or open it in iBooks from my iPad. So for my purposes of this demo, I just take it and I drop it on using AirDrop onto my iPad. My iPad will give me an indication of which document do I want, which app do I want to open it up in. If I choose iBooks, it will then open it up and bring it to me. There you go, and bring it to me. So now I can view it. Okay, cover page, table of contents, it works. My link, it works. Go back to iBooks and go through. My movie now plays. My image gallery works fine. So you can create a document that looks far from an ordinary text file in Pages. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you. Question, Mike?
Suppose you want to put this out on the web.
You can, if I wanted to put it out on the web, I would probably export it as a PDF. And PDF will recognize pretty much everything that I've created in here. It'll recognize the movie, it'll recognize the link. It may or may not recognize the image gallery, but a PDF will recognize all of this. I'm sorry? The formatting will go with the PDF. All right, next question, Joe. I do use rulers because when I was working and moving things around, you saw the guidelines that appeared. The guidelines and they snap. They make it really easy for you to place things and adjust things, but most of the time when I'm working, I work with rulers. No, once you create the document, you have all kinds of things you can change. So
You can select view ruler.
Yes.
And it will stay up the entire time.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yes. So you have the ability to choose rulers, and I believe they just have rulers across the top. I didn't see rulers across the side. Show ruler. Yeah, it just shows them across the top. I'm used to having rulers on the side as well, so I just use these smart guides that appear when I'm working with Pages. It's pretty accurate. Next question? Yes.
Okay, so you're very, very good.
Thank you.
Perfect. You do a lot. But if you compare it,
No comparison. Hands down InDesign.
right.
Yeah.
What about for ease?
For ease of use, this is really good. You have to just know where things are. And hopefully, I gave you guys a good starting point because I had to dig to find this stuff. It is not like up there and easily to find. You got to go through reading, and there's some things that I realized it could not do. And it's like, what? How come it can't do that? But it's free. And Mike asked me the question earlier, how does it compare to Microsoft Word? Well, it now depends on what you need it for. I only have Pages. I have completely discarded Microsoft programs on my computer. I don't want to pay for them, and I don't need all of that it does. Pages does fine for me. If I need that type of power, I go to InDesign. All right, yes?
First, a couple comments. diving into this.
Thank you.
And the presentation you did, I thought was excellent. The area that you attacked is not the easiest thing to
Yes.
explain.
Right.
Right? I've tried for years to get what I call a template, which is a group of styles, right? I was used to it in Microsoft Word. Trying to get it to do the same thing in Pages has been very difficult. So my compliment.
Thank you.
You showed us today what a word processing document. But you didn't show us anything about page layout. I mean, you showed us, but you didn't go over into that side of those style sheets.
Right.
Right? Yet, answering the question for InDesign, isn't InDesign page layout?
InDesign is page layout on steroids plus 10 million things more. I can create a page layout with an automatically generating table of contents no matter what type of document I want to create in InDesign. So with programs like Pages, it's based toward, not that type of power. And it's free. So there's only so much they're going to put into it. So now as far as
It's becoming more powerful.
it is more powerful, but I was sort of surprised at some of the things it could not do, because I thought for sure I'd be able to generate a table of contents using a page layout. I started with a page layout example. I got to the very end. It's like, what? I can't do a table of contents for this? Really? So I had to start the whole thing over. So, and I loved the layout I was doing. It was really cool, like this one, but you couldn't do it. So I did not want to go into the typical, this is how you create a paragraph style. I only had an hour and a half, but I wanted to show some of the things that, again, you do not normally see people go into, because that's what I said I'd do.
And I also think it was interesting. You showed us your work style.
Yes.
You have no problem talking to your document.
No, none.
Making sure it does this. And
Absolutely. Talk a lot while I'm working. Yes, Ray. Yeah, you can dictate to your programs. Yes, yes, yes. I've done that while I was taking notes before. You can dictate to the computer. It will type out what you're saying. Okay, all right. Any other questions regarding? Yes, Mike? Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I ended up using Pages, there was a program that I used exclusively for taking notes. It was an amazing program. It was called Notebook by Circus Ponies. One day, they went out of business. It's like, okay, I got like buku amount of documents. How am I going to get all of that information? And I mean, this program would index, everything you can imagine to find text. This program did. Amazing program. They just went out of business. So I had to get my old computer and I exported all of that text out. You can export those files out to PDF or as text documents, so I could save all of that content. And I thought, okay, I'm not buying Word. What am I going to do? So Pages, it's like, okay, hopefully, as long as Mac's around, Pages is going to be around. So that is what flowed me into Pages. Any other questions? Yes, John. It cannot read it. That's what it's doing. It can't read it. It's old. It can't read it. When you see all of those symbols, the squares and stuff, it can no longer read the document. All right. Next question. Yes. Yes, Jack.
Can you do indexing?
No. No, you cannot. Hopefully, maybe in the future, but no, you cannot. That's the one thing that I look for as well. All right. All right. My last question. Time to end. Did you learn anything today? All right. Thank you. All right.